These are the images of marches across the country organized largely by Democratic organizations opposing President Trump's agenda. Some say the massive turnout was one-time group therapy. Others say it is the start of a new resistance. The big questions: will the protests translate into real activism for women? Does it happen regardless of political party? Vote Run Lead, a nonpartisan organization training women for political careers, says the march mobilized women for long-term action. Erin Vilardi is their executive director. It's nice to see you. Thanks for being with us. So how do you measure success of that march?
You measure success by what's happened afterwards, how many women have actually been activated. You measure success for us by how many women actually decide to raise their hand and say, okay, enough is enough, I'm ready to run for office. And for us, those numbers are going through the roof.
What are those numbers?
On Monday, we launched something called Now We Run, and we've already had 500 women say, yes, I will run, and actually declare that they're either going to run in 2018, 2020, or with a 5-year plan. About half of the women we're surveying right now, about 44%, are saying they want to run in the next 2 years.
What is the central message, do you think, of this march?
The central message actually felt like we're all Americans, that I may not look like you, I may not speak the same language you speak, but there's room for all of us. I think the march organizers did a pretty fantastic job of lifting up people who we don't often see on television, whose voices don't often make it to the national magazines or the front page of the New York Times. And they were talking about the sort of activism from the local level, as well as the issues that women care deeply about, which are healthcare, the full range of reproductive rights, equal pay, getting involved in our economy and sort of turning this country around.
There are a large number, you can see in Donald Trump's election, of women for whom reproductive rights was clearly not at the top of their agenda, or don't support necessarily reproductive rights. How do you open up a tent that's big enough to hold everybody if part of your agenda goes against something that they believe?
I think the model is actually the women senators and women in the House. They have long been working across the aisle to talk about adoption, to talk about better medical benefits for women when you do decide to have a child. I think there are ways that we can create some alignment there without only always talking about abortion. We actually need to have the larger conversation of what it means for women to bring healthy children into the world and lead healthy lives so they can take place in our democracy, start their own business, have that solid footing that is required.
How do you turn a social movement that seems to have been pretty wildly successful into a political agenda in the context of a media that seems, at least at this moment, to be lurching from tweet to sort of like shiny thing over here? And
one, we have to become our own media hubs. We have to call out when we see the fake news. We have to make comments within our families' Facebook feeds who might be putting something out that seems a little ridiculous or to be untrue or not scientifically accurate. So we have to be our own media task forces in a way and do that on our social media pages.
It seemed to me that most of the women in the march were left-leaning women, but not necessarily of the Democratic Party.
Correct.
And so that's intentional. Is that a good thing? Is it a problematic thing?
I think it's a good thing. I think that I'm not looking for women who want to be on a team. I don't think people think American democracy is a team sport that's been very successful. So you also find more and more young people are not picking a Democrat or a Republican. We're seeing this sort of different wings of the parties come about. And I think that's actually really healthy because in order to make some alignments and get policy work done, you're going to need different kinds of coalitions. If we just keep pitting Democrats against Republicans, we're going to get stuck in a government that does nothing. And I think it's okay that there isn't clear alignment with a particular agenda because women's rights are for everyone. This isn't about tying your issue to a singular party. We can get things done working with Republicans and Democrats.
Erin Vilardi, nice to have you. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. You bet.